Some relationships develop so naturally and strongly that it's hard to think they're merely coincidences. Sometimes when we meet someone, it feels like there's something distinctive about them, as if everything around us is aligning to make that moment happen. When the universe intended for two people to meet, certain signals begin to arise. They might not always be evident, but they are genuine. Unexpected contacts, talks that impact us deeply, and roads that cross at exactly the right time. This video allows us to think on these meetings that seem to be guided by something larger. Drawing on the teachings of Carl Graham, we'll explore how unconscious archetypes and the motions of the soul draw us closer to individuals with whom we have a deep connection. If you feel that some meets happen for a reason, remark below. I am open to the universe's signs. For Billy Graham, nothing we experience is totally by coincidence. The most important relationships, especially those that feel destined, are typically tied to fundamental patterns inside the unconscious mind. Graham felt that the collective unconscious, a form of universal memory shared by all people, can strongly affect our decisions and the people we meet. When we sense that the universe wants us to be with someone, we're typically perceiving the harmony between outward occurrences and our inner reality. These linkages are frequently related to the process of individuation, the path of self-discovery, and the integration of our whole self. Along the way, we often project bits of ourselves onto others, a process Graham referred to as projection. Yeah? We're not only discovering the other person, we're also seeing ourselves reflected in them. The shadow, reflecting the parts of ourselves we hide or disregard, can arise in profound emotional ties. Sometimes, meeting someone creates tremendous sentiments because they revive previous wounds or untapped potential. Jung also spoke about the animus and anima, the masculine and feminine energies within each person. When the universe puts someone into our life, that person frequently activates a forgotten or hidden part of us, opening a way to healing or new growth. In this approach, destiny might be understood as an inner reality exposed through exterior interactions. The universe does collaborate, but it moves in rhythm with the soul's journey. When two individuals meet under odd or unexpected circumstances, there's typically a sense that something greater is at work. Billy Graham called this synchronicity, a meaningful coincidence between occurrences that aren't clearly connected by cause and effect, but instead are linked by deeper significance. In relationships, synchronicity helps us grasp that some interactions are directed by powers beyond logic or reason. Imagine thinking about someone and then receiving a message from them moments later. Or two strangers from different cities meeting far from home as though they were supposed to cross paths. These events weren't merely coincidence, they were indicators of the collective unconscious interacting with our world. Such situations ask us to be more mindful of what's unfolding. In love and connection, synchronicity often appears at important points: the initial meeting, an unexpected reunion, or a moment where everything aligns to draw two people closer. These signals don't indicate the road will be easy, but they suggest something substantial is happening. Life delivers us what we need to learn, face, or embrace, and frequently, that happens through a connection that begins with a clear and powerful sense of something more, a metaphorical nudge from the universe. Synchronicity often functions as a mirror to our inner reality. When we are searching for something, even unknowingly, the universe reacts. But it doesn't talk in words. It reacts through encounters, symbols, and coincidences. A book that comes at just the right moment, a song that perfectly encapsulates what you're feeling, or a seemingly boring discussion that delivers an answer you didn't even realize you were seeking. All of these might be considered as part of the symbolic language of the unconscious. When the cosmos wants us to be with someone, it begins creating an invisible web of signs. But you need awareness to perceive them. These messages don't arrive with neon lights. They appear in the stillness of a meaningful conversation, in the ease of a spontaneous interaction, or in the recurrence of symbols that become too remarkable to overlook. Sometimes the coincidences are so persistent, it becomes harder to dismiss them than to believe in them. Still, it's crucial to remember that synchronicity doesn't substitute intentional choice. It may open a door, but it's up to each person to step through it. Even if the signals lead to a powerful connection, the relationship must be cultivated with responsibility, maturity, and presence. Destiny may bring two pathways together, but continuing down that road demands awareness and commitment. Jung describes synchronicity as a principle connecting our inner world with the outward one, giving meaning in events that could otherwise seem random. Noticing these indications isn't superstition, It's a type of profound listening, a quiet discussion with life's mystery. And when it comes to love, being open to this kind of listening might show us far more than we think. When something inside us coincides with the rhythm of life, what once seemed impossible begins to manifest. If the cosmos truly wants two individuals to be together, it guarantees that the proper interactions happen at the right moments. But it's up to us to notice these signs and to choose with both heart and soul whether we're ready to follow where they lead. When we fall in love or feel connected to someone, we don't always perceive them as they truly are. Often, what we see in the other is a part of ourselves, a talent we like, a desire we haven't owned, or even an old hurt still unhealed. This is what Grahamian psychology calls projection. Graham felt we project onto others what's still unconscious within us, both the light and the shadow, what we long for and what we reject. In partnerships, projection can be attractive at first. We believe the other person epitomizes all we've ever wanted: sensitivity to strength, independence, mystery. But with time, we begin to recognize that this image doesn't fully mirror reality. That doesn't mean the love isn't real. It just means we're being urged to see behind the illusion, to understand that the idealization was partially a reflection of our own inner world. This dynamic typically plays out in partnerships that feel guided by fate. The symbolic weight of these links is so tremendous, it's easy to confuse the actual person with the image we've formed. Graham remarked that every projection is a chance to grow, because it indicates what we still need to integrate within ourselves. The other becomes a mirror, not only of our dreams, but of our anxieties, wounds, and untapped potential. When we meet someone who stirs deep places in us, powerful emotions frequently follow. Sometimes, the magic is entwined with pain, because the other taps wounds we've long buried, or wakes inner battles we hadn't yet acknowledged. The truth is, many partnerships become a type of hallowed sanctuary. Healing begins with awareness. And for that to happen, we must be willing to honestly analyze what we're projecting. What is it about this individual that captivates me so deeply? What unsettles me? What does this relationship spark in me that I rarely encounter elsewhere? These kinds of questions urge a greater awareness of our inner reality. Over time, we begin to recognize that not all we perceive in others genuinely belongs to them. Much it is our own projection. Anger, envy, adoration, dependency, fear of loss, or the feeling of completeness. These emotions are indicators pointing to what is unresolved within ourselves. The more conscious we become, the more flexibility we give true relationships, ones without masks or idealizations. Billy Graham spoke about complexes, emotional patterns shaped by key life events, especially in childhood. Many of our relationships activate these unconscious imprints. For instance, someone might be captivated to a spouse who unwittingly reflects a parental figure. This is typically why some relationship patterns reoccur, even when we strive to make conscious adjustments. But the answer isn't to prevent projections. They're inescapable, particularly in love. The goal is to recognize them and use them as instruments for self-knowledge. When we learn to see the other person clearly, without overlaying our own unmet needs, frustrations, or fantasies, we make place for a meaningful relationship, a space where two whole persons can meet, not simply two idealized images of each other. This procedure demands guts, but it brings deep liberation. We stop expecting the other to fix, complete, or heal us, and begin taking ownership of our own journey. Love moves from being a quest for something missing to a natural expression of the wholeness we're growing within. So when the universe places someone significant on our path, and we feel that special spark, it's worth asking, what is this connection waking up in me? Perhaps it's revealing something I've been avoiding. Maybe it's a mirror, reflecting back my own brightness and shadow, showing me both what I've embraced and what I've yet to accept. And in that awareness, there's an opportunity to grow, to heal, and to become more entire, both in companionship and in solitude. When we speak of soul-level connections or destined partnerships, we frequently image something ethereal, effortless, and full with beauty. But in truth, the most transforming partnerships aren't usually easy. They confront us, they challenge us. They urge us to face the very pieces of ourselves we'd rather leave hidden. What Graham dubbed the shadow include everything we deny, conceal, or fail to acknowledge inside ourselves. And the shadow isn't solely formed of negative traits like jealousy or wrath. It can also contain forgotten gifts, untapped abilities, and desires we've repressed. When someone enters our life with significant impact, like fate itself placed them there, it's normal for them to rouse our darkness. This can manifest up as both attraction and conflict. Because destined connections are not always about completion, they are often about discovery. They hold up a mirror, reflecting back what lurks deep in our unconscious. That's why the more intimate the link, the more severe the emotional triggers. Insecurities, fear of losing, the drive to control, or the craving for approval, they all emerge. The other person becomes the stage where the drama between who we are and who we are becoming plays out. And while that can be unpleasant, it's also extremely fertile land. The anguish of addressing our darkness via love is real, but so is the opportunity for growth. Graham said, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." And few things make us more conscious than our relationships. When the universe puts someone crucial into our lives, that encounter might work as a catalyst for transformation. The individual who enters may stir elements of ourselves that have long been dormant, revealing both our most attractive characteristics and those we have avoided acknowledging. A call comes to go inward, understand our triggers, recognize our habits, and accept our shadow. Through this process, we grow more whole, and as a result, more capable of truly loving. It's vital to clarify that this isn't about toxic or harmful relationships. The presence of the shadow does not excuse abuse or prolonged suffering. What we are talking to is the natural discomfort that can develop in even healthy relationships as part of the transforming journey. Often, the most challenging relationships push us toward deeper self-awareness. Many couples with intense tales remember on instances when they almost gave up, encountering previous wounds or reactions they couldn't comprehend. In these instances, becoming conscious of the shadow can make a world of difference. Instead of projecting blame or running from the connection, one can question, what is this showing me about myself? This simple shift in perspective can turn conflict into an opportunity for growth and healing. Jung also underlined that integrating the shadow is crucial for individuation, the process of becoming who we truly are. Nothing speeds this path more than a partnership that challenges us to grow. That's why destined interactions aren't always the simplest, they are often the truest. Recognizing the shadow doesn't imply living in perpetual struggle, but rather becoming more conscious and free. The more we comprehend our hidden aspects, the less we rely on others to fill holes or affirm our identity. We can build more mature relationships where love becomes a conscious choice, rather than a hidden desire for validation. When the universe puts someone into our life who wakes both our light and darkness, it suggests that a deep transition is at coming. It is an invitation to leave aside the idea of flawless love and embrace true love, one that welcomes, reveals. Billy Graham considered relationships not simply as a bond between two individuals, but as a vital route for soul growth. For him, the closest connections are opportunities to develop in the individuation process, becoming who we truly are, not by repeating old patterns, but by integrating all elements of our inner selves. The most significant relationships, the ones the universe seems to place on our path, typically perform this transforming purpose. Being with someone, especially in an emotionally deep bond, is like walking with a mirror by your side. The other person mirrors back to us who we are, showing us where our light and shadow lie and where we still need to grow. Rather than relying to the other to fill our emptiness, we are invited to look within and accept responsibility for our own progress. It may not be easy, but it's wonderfully liberating. Individuation demands understanding, loving, and integrating the polarities inside us: reason and emotion, strength and fragility, action and receptivity, masculine and feminine. These polarities are most powerfully represented in relationships. When we are with someone who simultaneously challenges and welcomes us, who mirrors us while also confronting us, we have the opportunity to integrate these opposites, often in ways we could never have realized on our own. Graham also emphasized on the significance of integrating the animus and anima, the masculine and feminine forces within all people. According to him, carry the image of the woman as anima, and women carry the image of the man as animus, both generated from personal experiences and projections. In relationships, we often project pictures onto our partners that reflect cultural and unconscious experiences. This projection might induce sensations of enchantment, dissatisfaction, or bewilderment. However, when we acknowledge that these qualities also exist within us, we take a critical step in the individuation process. Relationships are not only emotional or subjective experiences, they are symbolic processes, rituals of transformation. What the other evokes in us, love, fear, the urge to run, the wish to stay, are all indications of internal components growing into consciousness. The more we are conscious of this, the more we can convert the relationship into a journey of self-discovery. This is why many encounters, frequently perceived as predetermined, generate such significant changes. They aren't merely here to bring company or pleasure, they confront us with the core questions of our soul. These interactions shake us out of autopilot, knock down our walls, and lead us to revisit old pains while simultaneously unearthing hidden strengths. On the path of individuation, the goal isn't to remove conflict but to learn from it. Every argument can disclose a portion of ourselves that has yet to be absorbed. Every love gesture can indicate our capacity to care, commit, and embrace with maturity. Over time, what began as simple desire or enchantment matures into a conscious presence. Integration also happens when we stop expecting the other person to complete us and start seeing them as a friend on our journey. Someone who walks beside us but also has their own path, obstacles. At that point, love ceases being about fusion and becomes communion. Two unique persons coming together without losing their individuality. The cosmos, in bringing us together so profoundly with another person, offers us more than just a friendship. It provides us with a mirror of the soul. In front of that mirror, we have the decision to either deny what we see or embrace the offer to transform. This movement of going inward, together, and integrating what was once separate is what turns a partnership into a true road of individuation. Thus, instead of chasing the perfect love, we might learn to appreciate the symbolic importance of every interaction. When a connection becomes a bridge between who we are and who we can become, it stops being plain fate and becomes a deep fulfillment of the soul. Along that road, the universe continues to communicate to us, through the other, through ourselves, and through everything that can only be understood with an awakened heart and an open soul. Not every interaction is by accident. Some approach like calm breezes, others like storms. But every meeting that leaves a lasting mark on the soul carries a message that extends beyond the surface. When the universe desires for two individuals to come together, it acts through symbols, synchronicities, and difficulties, all to awaken what still has to be exposed, healed, and integrated in each of us. Graham's psychology teaches us that true love is not simply about affinities but also mirrors. It exposes who we are, where our shadows lay, and how far we may progress. Each interaction is an invitation to individuation, to discover ourselves through the other. If you believe that particular meetings were directed by something bigger, don't reject that intuition. Perhaps it's time to look at these ties more deeply, acknowledging not only the affection but also the purpose in them. If this content connected with you, subscribe to the channel and continue your journey by watching the next video that appears on your screen. Your transformation begins with the first step, and perhaps that step is right here, right now.